And hi, everybody. How is everybody doing? Welcome to Transgurus again. Thank you very much. We are over 70,000 subscribers. Wow, I never believed that
Wow.
it would go so far. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for subscribing. And today's theme, it is turning pain into power.
Yeah.
So, who would like to go first?
Oh,
I got a couple ideas here.
Okay.
sure.
So, welcome everybody. When I was in the Marines, there was a pretty popular shirt during the time. It said, "Pain is weakness leaving the body."
Mhm.
And so there's various kinds of pain. Pain can be a teacher. It can be a warning signal to our body that something's wrong.
Mhm.
So, talking about fitness, there's a good kind of pain when your muscles are sore the next morning. There's a bad kind of pain when you tore one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the idea is to recognize the type of pain that we're experiencing it, and is it what's it trying to tell me? The pain of a sore muscle saying you did a good job. The pain of a torn muscle is you overdid it or you did something wrong. So pain can be a teacher and it can be an indicator. And um, again, I'm going to relate to the gym. Today was leg day. Legs are the most taxing. And I don't want to use the word pain, but you're crippled when you leave there, when you do it right. And so that is an indicator that it takes that kind of effort to achieve growth. So that's true with anything, our mind, body, and spirit. If you want to expand your brain, you're going to have to go outside of your current degree of knowledge and wisdom and stretch your brain. Pain is a byproduct of stretching yourself beyond what you're considered normal.
Mhm.
And so I say this often because it's so true. Our future selves exist outside of our current comfort zone. So we need to grow to meet our future self. And the old adage when there's a kid growing up, they're having growing pains, you know? So as we grow as people, we're going to experience different kinds of pain. Accept that as part of the process. Someone who lives a pain-free life isn't living,
Yep.
you know, Ella?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Not only on the physical part, but on the mental part as well.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Who wants to go next?
Oh, I'll take a stab at it because, I just love hanging out with you all and the things that we talk about. And, we're often talking about healing and spirituality and power. And I'm glad that we want to talk about pain because pain is a huge part of who we are. And I'm not talking about just the obvious kind of pain that is, all in the headlines and the hashtags and things like that right now. I'm talking about the stuff that's more personal, like the losses and the rejections and the erasures and disappointments and things like that we know really well. The kind of pain that we have learned to carry around inside of us. You can hear it in our voices sometimes. You can see it in our silence, and pain is really um, goes hand in glove, I think, for so many people in the trans and non-binary community. And Jimmy is exactly right about pain can be something that we let um, devastate us, curl up in a ball, want to give up, or it can be something that just opens up the doorway into a new world that we didn't even know we could handle. It kind of opens up a doorway into things that kind of surprises in terms of uh, we have to start experiencing things like creativity and advocacy and artistry and things like that. Or those kind of doors are often opened up to us because of the pain that we are experiencing and the things that the way that we respond to that. And so I thought it was a really good topic the more I thought about it, because as transgender people, we have a special kind of alchemy for um, healing our wounds and transforming the grief into growing, or the rejection into resilience, or the wounds into wisdom. And and I know all of us have experienced those things, and we've got a lot to talk about in terms of personal experiences or things, other people that we know of who have inspired us. And I just, you know, when we're experiencing that pain, it may come from people that are telling us, oh, you're too much, or you're not enough, or oh, you are so out of alignment with what we think is sacred. And you hear all that stuff. And the point I really wanted to make is that uh, pain, pain doesn't break us. It really, uh, well, we can let it break us, but we should let it break us, because what it really does is really open the doorway into a lot of new things that we just didn't know. And I know all of us are going to have a few examples of what that looked like, but it's been going on for a very long time. So if you're dealing with pain right now, or you're an old timer and you've already pushed through all of that and have this glorious life, well, take a breath, because I think what we want to talk about is that pain does not mean that you're broken. It means that you're on the verge of a breakthrough. So
Yes.
that's the way I look at it. Back to you, Ella.
Thank you. Raj,
Oh,
your turn.
Hi, everybody. Oh my God, I'm so excited. 70,000 followers. I'm
yeah.
so excited. I could kiss you all. But the problem is that means I would have to kiss 70,000 people, and my mouth would probably, I don't know, my mouth would probably die. So I'm going to hold off on the kisses. But I'm really, excited. And thank you all for tuning into our channel. So, pain. Well, so far what I've heard from Jimmy and Bobby, I mean, just excellent. And there are different types of pain. There's the physical pain that our body gives us to let us know something is wrong. Because I can guarantee when something hurts in your body, like just spontaneously, I'm not talking about when you work out, like Jimmy was talking about, and you get that pain that I call it the pleasure pain when it's a good pain. But I'm talking about just like organically your body experiences pain, you best believe something is wrong. Something is wrong. And that's the gift, I believe, that we have our body in our bodies to let us know that something is wrong so we can be alerted to it and hopefully take care of it. There's the psychological pain. Sometimes you're in a friendship or some sort of relationship and you're not happy in it, and you're experiencing depression and frustration and sadness and all of that, and you're not comfortable. And that's a type of pain, where you're alerted to, wait a minute, this situation might not be good for me, and maybe I need to move on. So yeah, all types of pain. For me, when I think about the pain in my life, what I have done, especially in later years, is I become very good with taking my pain, aka mess, and making it my message. Because, see, pain is a part of life that oftentimes teaches us lessons, it makes us stronger, And it gives us a story to share with other people to hopefully inspire other people that are experiencing pain. So when I think of pain right off the top of my head, that's what basically I have to say. And I'm going to throw it back to Ella.
Okay, I like you. Everybody's got a different way of looking at pain, the physical pain, everything. So I'm going to just throw something new. Okay, I have to tell you, I am very well connected with a country which is probably one of the oldest, one of the most incredible countries in the world, called India.
India.
India and its religion, Hindu, which only one of the many, 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 many religions they have, but the biggest one, is particularly interesting. And since I go to India very, very often, actually, I'm just flying to India next Saturday. I understood and I tried to understand a bit of the Hindu religion, although I am not a Hindu, I have to tell. But I really try to understand the Hindu religion. And sometimes I go to the mall to see some Hindus religion things, happenings. And the Hindu religion is very interesting about pain. I have many friends which are Hindus, and some of the people which I have to tell, some of the people I really consider my not love partners, but business partners. They are Hindus. And one of them, I'm not going to put any names on here, but one of them is a very, very someone which is really into the Hindu religion. And it's very funny. He has these phrases where he sleeps on the floor. He doesn't eat for a long period of time, kind of provoking pain to his own body just to get better afterwards. Pain and suffering, and it's what comes afterwards, which is power, is part of the karma, and it's part of the reincarnation and everything in the spirituality of the Hindus. It's part of life. It is very strong. The Hindus look at pain extremely. And I have to say, many of the gurus, they practice some very special types of pain. With meditation, it is the part of their growth. It's part of everybody's growth. Yeah, there is the physical pain, there's the mental pain, there is probably a little bit the inflicted pain because somehow we need it. It makes us alive. It makes us grow. It makes us to go into power. I mean, I have to say, putting those words into my transition as a transgender woman, I went through loads of pain because I didn't feel that I was in the right place. And I evolved and became what I thought was right. And I still do believe I am in the right path because I am happy now. Yeah, pain is very, very important part of survival, of power, and of growth. And we should take it the way it is. I mean, it's a beautiful part of it. And it can have many, many, many meanings. So have your heads and your heart open to understand what's going on with my pain. I think that is the very important question. And with those words, I pass to the congregation, to everybody.
Congregation, hey!
I think Bobby was talking about emotional pain, and how I look at it is I live by the motto: be so strong that nothing can disturb my peace of mind. If it costs my peace of mind, it costs too much. and I was listening to Ella, pain, pain versus pleasure. Okay, so the universe strives to achieve balance. So the higher degree of pain allows for the exact opposite of that, the higher degree of pleasure or ecstasy. So, and another thing too, I wanted to mention, in a heightened state of arousal, pain becomes pleasure. So use that as an analogy to how you can look at something. You know, pain is the pathway to achieving a, a sense of tranquility and harmony. So the degree in which we experience pain will allow the exact opposite of that, the degree in which we can experience harmony or ecstasy or serenity, the opposite, the lack of chaos, harmony.
Yeah. But
Ella.
don't forget the power, because we have pain, but we go into power. And
Right.
this is our power, is to actually to accept and leave
Mhm.
what it's a very important point, you know.
Yeah, what
I was,
doesn't kill us only makes us stronger.
Exactly.
yeah. Oh boy. Well, I was thinking about a pain that I think is very common among trans people, at least in my experience, is the pain of rejection. And I can remember the first time I was head over heels in love with someone, and it was a kind of a summer thing, and they had to move back to New England, and things kind of fell apart, and then kind of got dumped. And I was really young, college age, and you know, I have learned for musicians, especially, you can always tell the ones that got dumped about the songs that they write. And so I really, boy, did I ever start, the floodgates of songwriting just really opened up in that experience. And I just was writing song after song after song. And I actually got to be really successful at that. I got some songwriting contracts in Nashville back in the 70s, and got to live like a rock star for a while and perform with just some really fabulous, fabulous people, really big names. And then I met the person in the process of playing and touring that I was going to marry and build a family with. And the trans stuff, um, um, I let her know about that before we ever got married, because it was such a huge part of who I am. And we just thought that back in the 70s, that was so common for gay people and trans people to say, oh, marriage is going to cure me. So there's a whole lot
You know the
of
feeling.
gay men, yeah, gay men, especially our age, that thought that marriage was going to cure them. And of course it didn't. And so that, 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 that was a long marriage, and it just really crushed me when um, she wanted a divorce rather than to continue to she couldn't be a lesbian is what the thing was. So, and that really crushed me. And I remember one of the things that I learned in all of that, I was out drinking one night with one of my best friends, and we were in a bar, and she was just saying, you know, really, who's going to want us really, who's going to take us home to meet the family, who's really going to want us? And you know, a lot of times we're just being hit on by people that are curious. And first of all, it's like, what a terrible thing to be thinking to start with. It was like, no, I don't want to believe that. But what I had to the way I worked through that, and that's what I wanted to get to, was that I realized as a divorced person, I may never have that level of intimacy again that I had enjoyed for so many nights, for so many years. And it was like, I may never have that kind of intimacy again. And rather than get really sad about that, I realized that I'm finally real. I'm living like I want. I have the best friends I have ever had because I don't have any secrets anymore. And I was in love with my life. I was in love with my friends. And I realized I just need to change my definition of companionship. I may never have an intimate sexual marriage kind of relationship again, but I have got the best companionship, the best friends I've ever had in my life. And I got really, really happy. Uh, I got really happy about that. And as soon as I got really happy, that's when the next person that would become my next wife kind of just showed up out of nowhere. And it was like, oh my gosh, and this person just really loved me like I had always wanted to be loved, and it was really great. And I've mentioned it before. She died of breast cancer three years ago, and that really crushed me. That was really awful. That really sent me down into a pit of despair. Um, and again, that was a lot of stuff to work through. It's like, well, who am I without a partner? Which is kind of an issue that a lot of trans people have to work through. And good for you if you've already worked through that and you didn't need to have a partner to kind of get on your trajectory and everything. But I like having a partner, and eventually I found another one, and that was glorious. But then that kind of fell apart a few months ago, and and uh, and that kind of rejection, it stings, and 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 this is the decision point I wanted to talk about. I can be really sad and hopeless that it's over, or I can be really, really grateful that it ever happened in the first place. And with this particular person was decades younger than me, and we had a great time. Oh, just really, really wonderful. And I am a much better human being because of those years spent in that relationship. And when I think about the places I went and the things I got to do and experience and the way that I grew, it became obvious to me that I have the choice of being sad that it's over, or I can be super, super grateful that it ever happened, because there were so many things that were really miraculous about that relationship and the things that happened. And so that has really carried me now into the present day, where uh, I am just really grateful. I'm a better person because of the things that we went through. I'm really grateful that it ever happened, and that's made a huge difference. And I don't know if that would help anybody else, but you do have the choice when you are rejected: sad that it's over, or grateful that it ever happened. And what did you learn, and how much better off am I because of the things? And so that keeps me positive, um, and knowing that love is not over in my
Okay.
life. So um,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming up on 30 minutes.
Yeah, Rush.
Yeah, so well, I'll just say that also for me, pain oftentimes brings revelation. My dad and I, for most of my life, we had a tumultuous relationship. As an adult, I realized why, because I wasn't the son that he expected to get, and he had a hard time dealing with that. Um, but, you know, before he passed away, we had our full circle moment. I was so grateful that I was able to have that with him. And, basically he said that, that he loved me and that, I'm his child. And he just was so worried about how I was going to make it in the world. He said, people can be so cruel to your kind. That's how he said it. And he says, I just worry so much about you and if you're going to be okay. And when he passed away not too long after he said that to me. And I grieved. I didn't think it was going to hit me as hard as it did, because it was kind of like I always felt like my father was like the thorn, in, in my side type thing. I could never do anything or do enough to please him and all of that. But in the grief, I realized that from my father, I received the strength that I needed
Mm.
to make it in this world as a trans person. I was so hell bent on proving to my dad that I could be me, I could live my authentic life, and I could still make it in this world. And that determination to prove myself to him, it infused into strength.
Yeah.
And I was able to have that revelation in my grief, in my pain of his loss. So that's an example of, how pain sometimes can just be the thing that makes us have a revelation or an aha moment or an enlightenment. And that's one of the things that I experienced in regards to pain. Ella?
Yeah, for me, well, I already told a little bit about my pain when I was before I transitioned and the power that I got afterwards. But I have to tell that in respect to, I was married twice. First time I was married 15 years. Second time I was married 26 years. So I've been more married in my life than
Yeah.
unmarried.
Hmm. Me too. Me too.
So right now I have to tell you that I don't have any relation and I feel actually pretty okay with it. I'm not necessarily looking for a relation or not, but you know, sometimes you need some time to each other for myself. And I think which is very important as well is that, if the right person comes along, there is understanding and mutual understanding, and it'll be right. So let's just make a fast fast round, and then we'll close it down. Jimmy, you go first.
I'll just close by saying that pain can take us down a road that has a destination that cannot be getting there any other way.
Mhm.
Yeah. Bobby.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And what I was thinking too, Jimmy, it opens a door
Yeah.
uh, into your options. And one of the things that I've learned has to do with gratitude and to be grateful for the pain because I know there's something of huge importance. There's a lesson of huge importance that I'm supposed to take out of that. And that attitude has never failed me. It's like, what am I supposed to learn from this? And I always get an answer. And and it's inspired by gratitude. I expect the pain to make me learn more. I'll put it that way. And I've had a very privileged education.
Raji, your turn.
Well, I will just close with this. For without the pain, would we really know what pleasure is? Yes, the yin and the yang.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anyway, my last words would be, go into your pain to try to make you better and to find your power and your pleasure, because this is so important. But with those words, I would just say thank you very, very, very much for following us. And we'll see you soon next week. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Love, peace, and
Bye.
blessings.
Namaste.
Bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.